Hear that?
Can't hear it.
Testing.
Testing. There you are.
How's it going, Jake?
Good. How are you?
Good. Long day.
Long day. How about you?
You know, it was it was like a little scattered and I wasn't in front of the computer the whole time, so it was kind of nice because I like to have at least one errand to get me out of the house and then come back and sit down in front of the computer for another 12 hours of payroll. So got to
Mhm.
break it up a little.
What's an errand look like for you?
Today it was getting Devin's working on plumbing for the house. So I was picking up some plumbing and checking the mail. I
Uh,
always, I'm always like checking the mail, and Devin's like, "You don't have to check the mail at the post office because we have like a PO box." I'm like, I don't have to check the mail, but I do need my little golden chai milk. So
There's your excuse.
gotta get. Oh,
Excuse.
oh! Look who just
Oh,
stepped off the treadmill.
Wow, needless to say, Jenna once again has become the host.
I'll, I'll see you out. I'll see yourself out.
our guest today is Melissa Jackson.
Yeah. You know, Jenna's the only person that Jake ever is like, come in with your camera on.
He's
I didn't.
usually like, "You get down, get out of sight."
No, it's a privilege
I
because when
didn't.
he,
Oh,
in a
Well, I
chat,
forgot.
if you're in a chat with Jake, he's like telling people that he doesn't even know. He's like, keep that camera off. And I mean it off. I mean, I want that thing black when you get on here. And I get on with Jenna two times, you two gabbing away.
2 times. Smoked him. Have you
Two
played that
times.
little clip of audio on the podcast?
Of what?
No, that's gonna have to be a whole separate
It's
event.
a work conversation that Melissa got a snippet of that is the best like encapsulation of West Virginia accents and
Yeah.
like storytelling. It just is phenomenal and it like gets stuck in your brain. I've listened to it 3,000 times, but one of the parts the guy's like 2 times. And now Devin and I will just like do the roles back and forth
Smoking.
to the two guys in the conversation.
Smoking.
Smoked it. You'll have to hear it.
I had a funny call from Devin this week because I was like right in the middle of like work, and it was like a stressful thing like that I was dealing with.
You won't pick up on that.
And he's like, he goes, how's it going? I was like, good. I'm just working and just dealing with this thing. He's like, I'll be brief. And I was like, okay. And he goes, have you seen the new Nate Bargatze hour? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I just keep thinking about that part where he's talking about his sister and how she grew up uh with my parents in a completely different way. Like, were you raised by your best friend? He's like, I just keep thinking about that. It was just funny. I love that he started with, I'll be brief. Like he
I'll
needed to
be
talk
brief.
about something, and then it was just like, remember
Remember
in Nate
when?
Bargatze?
I'll be brief. Like you think it's going to be a carpentry question, but it's like,
Yeah,
no, I'll be brief, but I have to recount this to you
yeah.
right now.
But I liked it. It was fun.
I do feel like that is kind of like Devin's like little MO when he calls. Like he'll call, but it will be like the most random thing that he wants to start the conversation about. And I did not realize that until you just said it. And now I'm like, oh my word, that is so on par. Like you're like, I'm actually walking like into work right now. Mark Robertson's FaceTiming me and I ran out of oil in the car and it's smoking. And he's like, remember the time that frog was in the trunk and you were like, oh,
We used to have this joke that he would always bring up like his run route. Like we'd be having a conversation, like, "Did you try this restaurant? It was really good." And he'd be like, "Yeah." So on my run today, I went up to, and just like apropos of nothing, you're like, you can see yourself out. But it's like if he has something he wants to share by joke, he'll share it.
Well,
mind you,
No
for our
will stop him.
listeners, this is Hawaii time. This is Japanese denim guy from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So to
yeah.
be just to cue them in, cue
Same
in,
guy. Same guy.
same dude, same dude.
Oh, real fast. Sorry, but Melissa, before you jumped on, we were talking about PO boxes.
See what I
We had a
mean?
whole thing going.
You see what I'm dealing with? You see what I'm dealing with?
No, we don't check our PO box very often, and I had two jury summons. Like they summoned me
God.
in like February, and I didn't get it, and I never responded. And then they summoned me again like a month later,
Oh wow.
didn't get it.
What?
So now
Different cases?
I think so. Just like I didn't respond, so they just threw me
That
back
guy's just
in. And
he's just rotting in jail while Jake's just like,
I know they're all
should we
waiting
go
on me.
out this
Yeah.
weekend? Don't check the mail.
Yeah. Jake's like, want to hit up a couple breweries? The guy's like, we had one juror that could have turned this jury
Yeah.
around.
He's not going to see his
Oh.
kids for another month.
He's,
Terrible.
to be fair,
So,
Jake
like-
probably would have sent him to prison. He would have been like, I don't need to hear this. You're
He's
guilty.
guilty.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Actually, just go in like that and they probably won't select you for jury duty. So,
Yeah, just so you know, they're all guilty if I have to miss work for this.
I can tell by looking at, I don't like the smell of this guy.
Oh man, that was Darren when he got that, what's it called? Jury summoned. You're summoned to jury.
You're summoned.
Summons, yeah.
You're summoned. Are you
Summons
summoned?
upon.
You're summoned upon to arrive at the courthouse.
Yep. To
Okay, so
appear.
Darren was in a group of people and he was like real nervous about it when he went. And I could tell that when they did not choose him. Now he'll deny this. He'll deny this to his grave. And I know that he won't hear this because he probably won't listen so intently to this podcast tonight. However, I will say that I'm pretty sure took it very personal when they were like, sir, you can go. He was like,
Excuse me?
you want him? And they're like, no, you there, Darren, you can leave. We don't need you here. And I think he was devastated.
Hurt.
secretly
Man.
You know, he wasn't malleable enough. They want
That's
somebody they can
yes.
puppeteer, not Dare Bear.
I
Yeah.
do think
Character's too
that could have
strong.
been it because he's got that going on. If Jake would have went, I think they would have sent him away too because he doesn't look malleable. He doesn't.
We're bulldogs.
They want putty.
Yeah, bulldogs. They're bulldogs in the jury house.
Mm-hmm. I'm a bulldog in the courtroom.
I can actually already see our art for next week. It's a bulldog just with Jake's little face on it. Like,
Bulldog.
I want to try to
That's
see if I
actually
can
his.
get, like a bulldog addressing the juries, or like I don't know. I guess I would be one of the juries. So we'd have to figure that out. We'll see what AI
What
comes.
if that was like, that's your card, like your business card? It's like the Bulldog. Jake Helfenstein, 0 years law experience. And they're like, he didn't have me at 0 years law experience, but when I heard the Bulldog, I said, I don't know
He's
if
a
I'm being
bulldog in the
tenacious.
courtroom.
yeah. When I saw the way that he handled that summons, I knew that he could lawyer me up. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, welcome, Jenna.
Thank you for
Yeah.
having
Camera
me.
on.
I'm excited. Boop.
For my
Thanks for having me,
from my
guys.
standpoint, like I thought Melissa was handling the instructions this week, so she didn't say anything about
Okay.
having the
I
camera.
should know him by now, you know?
You should. What's funny is I was handling the instructions, but as a rule, I do count on Jake to be like, leave that camera off. Like that is what he says.
Lowering the
Well, it's
boom.
just fun to give like an intro
Yes.
to the person that's on, but Jenna's been on multiple times already, so it's kind of like,
Should I see myself out so you can see me
Just-
back in?
oh, do you want to do that? What if you turn off your camera and then
Yeah. We'll begin. Oh,
hey, how's it
hey.
going?
Needless to
Nice see you.
say,
Needless to say, we got a lot to talk about.
we're interviewing Lady Gaga. You can see her
Lady
picture
Gaga's on the.
below.
Oh wait, I just got a text. She can't make it.
Okay,
think your
Lady
sister-
Gaga's not in.
Do you think your
Okay.
sister could do it?
Let me give it a whirl.
Oh,
I can't. I'm swamped.
Okay, she can. She's here.
she's here.
Hallelujah.
Oh man.
Okay.
I'm a fitting
So-
replacement for the Gogs. Lady Gogs.
All the
I believe-
what are her people called? Monsters. All the little monsters are going to be upset that she's not on, but
I know.
Are they really called Little Monsters?
something like
Yeah.
that.
Is that like
Yeah.
the Swifty Revolt gang? It's like
I
the
think they're like pre-Swifties. They're like
Oh yeah, this is old school. We're talking Gaga. She had it before Sam Smith became like a psycho demon influencer. Lady Gaga was wearing the steak suit to the Emmys or whatever. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, we're the monsters, like her little followers.
yeah,
even pre-steak suit. They were considered monsters.
yeah.
I think so. I think
Wow.
so. Oh yeah.
Well, she's phenomenal either way.
Yeah, she suffers from chronic pain and still can really belt out.
Powering through.
She's
Yeah.
something.
She's something. She's something.
Do you like her, Jake?
No.
She's something is a little ambiguous.
Yeah, I don't like her, but I know that she has a
So
good voice.
ambiguous. You don't like the Gogs.
I'm not a big Gogs
She
fan.
is some kind of something that
She's
gal.
something else.
Yeah.
Jake, is that your like our dad? Just to compare, our dad calls he'll say "oh guy" about everything. So you'll tell him this story, and he'll be like, and next thing you know, the guy's hand got cut off, and he's like, "Oh guy." So are you like, is that your little like, what would that be called? Like,
When I
not
say she's something,
yeah, yeah. I think I have heard you say that before about certain things.
it's probably like my like diplomatic way of saying I can't stand them. There's
Yeah,
she's something.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
I
You just
still,
hated to see all that good steak go to waste.
I saw that steak and I'm like, no one's gonna eat that steak now.
She doesn't respect the meat.
It's probably got perfume all over it. It's just gonna go in the trash.
oh, that's so gross. You're right.
Gross. Just wait. And then
I
like
Probably
hate
just
that.
like covered in
think of,
a
like,
horde of
the
flies by the end of the thing.
yeah, like
Yeah,
think of the
no.
person that's sitting behind her and they have to look at like steak on it, like smell that smell of
They
like
actually
cold.
brought a
Clean the
little.
seat.
They
And then
actually
it's
brought a little
probably
mini torch, like they do with like creme brulee. They
yeah,
brought a little mini torch to the Emmys, and they were just like, "It was filet mignon." Anyone?
yeah.
Jake
And then it's
Gyllenhaal
like
was just
yeah.
back there nibbling away. She didn't even know.
Controversial.
Tart tart.
And then the person has to like clean up. They're like, yeah, I totally want to
Okay.
clean up a raw meat off of these cloth seats at a theater.
I hate all of this. You guys do need to start your own pod after that. I am sickened right now.
Let's talk about something else. Skin cells. Melissa.
Sick.
Skin
You're the
cells.
worst. Gross.
Melissa has a weird pet peeve about like when she thinks or when people mention skin cells, like if people were in sheets and they're like, no, their skin cells are everywhere. She's like, she can't take it.
Disgusting.
Like the dust, like the like
Just thinking about it, I'm feeling nauseated. It's more for like if I leave and Darren's home and I come home, and that part's gotten better. I'm okay with Darren's skin cells now. But like if like Jenna and Devin came to spend the night, I would only go on the side of the bed where Jenna laid, not where Devin laid, because of skin cells.
I don't blame her though. I don't even go on Devin's side of the bed. I'm like, I don't know what's happening
Yeah, have
over
you
there.
seen Devin sweat and get in a car? The man has
Night
no
sweats.
remorse. I mean, no remorse. The sweat is flying. The seat has actual imprints of like his sinews, and he's like, "It's fine."
Actually, we used to have a daily conversation, like if I would have cleaned everything and he would come back from the beach and I knew there was sand on his feet. And then he'd go to get into bed and I was like, you've already brought it in the house, but the least you can do is put your little feet together before you get in the bed and go just to shake it off. And he'd be like, it's fine. Almost a marriage ender if I wasn't in love with the man.
oh man.
Isn't everything? Isn't everything almost a marriage ender if we weren't in love with the man?
It's true.
Except for Jake. Chelsea has none of those things going on.
He's not in love with the man.
She's
He's got a
clean.
beautiful gal.
She's saying that you don't deal with those things.
Oh, no, never.
No, never.
No, never. Yeah, Chelsea has to deal with a gem. A gem.
Yeah. No complaints so far. All good.
Chelsea's literally in the background just fastening a noose.
She's,
Yeah, I know. I
you
love
can't
it
see
so
her,
much.
but she's like right off camera going like this, watching me.
Little legs just kicking.
Her legs are
Little
kicking,
legs just barely touching.
just watching me,
Raising.
adoring my every move.
Drinking
Yeah.
a Shirley Temple.
Yeah.
Oh God. But still put Alka in it just in case, because you never
Just
know.
in case, you never know.
No,
I
and
don't
she
know what
wants to
contaminants
be-
are in those sodas.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Alka! Shout out Alka again. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just gonna say that she likes a drink where it's the bitters, like black walnut bitters with seltzer.
Oh,
Non-alcoholic. It's just a drink, but it's got a really
mocktail.
flavor.
Oh yeah.
It's her favorite right now.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so shout out to the walnut bitters. We
Black
needed to-
walnut bitters and a seltzer.
Are they sponsoring you yet? They should
There's
be.
Devin.
Yeah,
There's
it's
Devin.
Oh, there's my
Devin.
baby.
Not yet.
Ooh.
Look at him. Oh man.
look at
He did
those
that on
eyes.
purpose.
You understand why I
You understand me
had
now,
little
right? You
dirty
understand.
feet, you know, with a guy like that.
You understand now, right? Like why the skin cells don't bother me. You
Everyone
saw
gets it now.
You saw his traps. You know. Can you
back.
imagine, Jake, I completely can see Devin like seeing the camera like setting up and then like going outside and like finding a wood pile, but like putting it on top of a cooler so it just looks like it's a massive wood pile. And
Yeah.
just like the whole podcast.
Or he like knew where she was going to set up and stacked
Yeah.
a bunch of wood right there so that while the
Yes.
pod's going on, he can like be like, "Whoa, you mean these ones? I'll get them," and then walks
This
over.
Just
guy,
picking up. Oh,
what's
just
funny?
moving this.
No, me and Jake both, like during Devin's podcast, we were like, Devin, get with us. Okay. We know you've got grade A pod material. He was so exhausted on that pod. But
He's
we gotta
really
have him
hard
back.
to. I think he's not a performer, like some
Yeah,
people,
right.
like, are you ever surprised at the people that you have on the pod and they just like come alive? And then some people that you're like, this person is going to kill it. And then they're just like a little shy. Like, I
Yeah,
feel like Devin can make me laugh harder than almost anyone, but it's never on command.
he's a
Yeah.
shy
He's like
boy.
he's a little bit of a shy boy.
Okay, so today to get into the pod quicker than later, because we got a tight ship to run here. Jenna will be interviewing Jake.
Wait, me?
Plot twist.
Not just Jakey.
Plot twist.
Two of yous.
The toys. I gotta
Two
let
of
you
yous. The two.
Open the door to heck.
No, I just had just a couple questions because I feel like people listen to your podcast faithfully every week. Both of you, the present one and the not so present one right now. Where did she go?
Probably the cat.
Like,
See how
oh,
Jenna tries to
did
get rid of me and in return. She tries to get rid of me in return. She's like, oh, is Melissa not wanting to do the pod anymore?
yeah, she's gone now. I can just interview Jake then. That's fine. And then I'll just come back next week.
You know what I think is appropriate is just a little.
Oh. All right, we'll let
See
you know when
yourself
we
out.
need you, Melissa.
Let me know when I'm. Let
Just
me know
stand
when
by.
you're ready. Yeah, standing by.
Come on back. We're ready. So
Hello.
I was curious, I know you've told the story. Basically, like if you were on a river float and you decided you were going to podcast, that's an oversimplification of things, right? Like what made you be like this could happen?
We were I feel like I've always thought about a podcast, but how do you do a podcast like without like with how we spend most of our time and live our lives, you don't want to like become a spokesperson for things.
Yeah.
Not to be vague, but like, you don't want to like, you're not going to have like a podcast about spiritual things or overtly that way. So like, how do you like do a podcast, talk about your life and stuff and have your friends on? And then it's just always something I've kind of thought about, but not really. But then when Darren and Melissa were up, it's like, oh, Melissa would be fun. Partly it was like, because Melissa's entertaining and it'd be fun to have a podcast. And then like with her, and we would have a lot to talk about. And between us all, we all have kind of like a similar friend group. So it was like, we could all have these people on that we love and we're all friends with, and it would be fun.
Yeah.
And then it was
Jake
like
definitely was the leader of it. I feel like Jake was like the one who was like, this is what, hey, this would be fun. And then I was like,
Do you
yeah,
feel like those are those still kind of the roles you take? Do you feel like Jake kind of is like the business? Well, Chelsea's technically the business end, I guess. But like Jake is like, scheduling and you're like, I'm bringing the energy. Not that you don't, Jake, but
oh, I definitely feel like Jake is the one who I tell people when I ask them to be on the podcast, I always am like, do you want to be not on my podcast? I always am like, do you want to be on a podcast that my friend Jake does? And I'm co-host like every time.
Humility.
Yeah. Well, Jake is literally like, I feel like Jake is the host and I'm the co-host because it was his idea. He was like the forefront, like, I want to do this. Here's the time. Let's do it. Let's set it up. And he did that for the whole first season. He was like, I want to do it. He was very consistent. Chelsea, of course, was the woman behind the wheel. She was the one greasing. She was the one making things happen. She was the one that was like, hey, guys, funny story. You can't just be willy-nilly out here recording your two dumb selves. And we were like, why not? And she's like, no, let's be serious. Guys, come on. But Jake for sure, I feel like he definitely is the like bread and butter of this operation. Like I'm just here with a just squeaking by, but he is definitely the one.
I feel
No,
like
I
from
feel
the start, I felt like it was the three of us. Like it was
Me,
equal parts.
Jenna, and you.
Yeah. Sorry, the
you
four.
guys, I don't think of myself so much in
Guys, not me. Not me.
In my head, it was like a third, a third, a third. Like Chelsea was gonna do all the stuff in the background, and
Yeah.
then the two of us.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh, good.
What do you think, Chelsea?
Well, I kind
Can
of
you show yourself?
I
Chelsea, sure.
I can't really show myself, but I
Okay.
did think similar that it would be a third, a third, a third, and then I quickly realized that it was a third, a third, a third, a third you right there. And then somehow it was like 2/3 here.
She was taking on more of it than.
Oh yeah.
Because
Oh.
the back end of things takes so
Oh,
much.
so much more time consuming.
Yes, yeah. And that I did not anticipate that.
Yeah.
And the more inappropriate comments per podcast, the more you got to
Oh my
edit.
God.
And boy, oh boy,
Yeah.
do they
Boy,
add
oh
up?
boy, is right.
So she was saying the other day, it was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we'd record and then just give it to her. And then I'd be like in the corner, like on my phone, looking at dumb stuff. And she's there like recording editing the pod, getting the graphics together, writing up the synopsis.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like on
Like,
Twitter,
it
like
was
looking at the
taking
news.
me hours every Sunday.
Jake's like,
That was
I'm
fun.
just like knee deep in Reddit articles about curtain lengths. And
Yeah.
Chelsea's like, funny story. I'm actually working to the bone over here.
Yeah. I'm like, Chelsea, have you seen this video on Princess Kate? And she's like, I need to edit your entire podcast, right? And I'm like, yeah, but no one's seen her in months.
Wait, so what is the latest on that though?
Oh, no, I
now
stopped. I don't know.
you stopped. You had to bow
Jake,
out.
that might
Okay.
be my favorite thing you've said on the podcast in a long
What
time.
about Katie Girl?
No, you guys don't understand. She hasn't been seen in months.
Chelsea's like, finally, I sent her like these videos. I'm like, this is pretty crazy. And she's like, I don't care. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I don't care either. Like, it was like I had to like, whoa, boo, never mind.
I had to
What do
whoa
I
and
care?
woo.
Real quick though,
Yeah.
that shifted to I started editing. But Chelsea's
Oh,
still
are you editing now?
yeah, but like every like good change has been Chelsea. Like the new art for each episode was Chelsea. Like she's
Is
still
that AI generated?
yeah, but they're fun. The last one took me like I probably refreshed like 50 times to get one that, and then Chelsea's like, you know, his eyes are like this, and I was like, yeah, but it's funny.
That works. That is actually
Okay.
how I remember Jeremy. So
Yeah,
You know what's so funny is that I actually looked at that and I was like, is it just me or are his eyes so wonky?
yeah, no, they're super wonky.
that's
See,
what gave
why
Kate
we
Middleton
also-
away too.
Yeah.
Jenna, sidebar, just to flash back to last week. If you have not listened to Jeremy's story, oh my gosh, I laugh about it every day so
Oh,
far.
I'll have to
Like-
catch up.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
All right. So back to Jake's interview. Go on.
It's both of your interview once again. So I'm curious, like you said you always wanted to do a podcast. Like, is there one episode of a podcast that sticks out in your mind that you feel like totally changed your perspective on like people or life or like emotions or how you interact with people or just
Oh, good question.
Wow, that's deep.
Wow.
The first thing that came to mind was, this is random. It was I think it was Bill Simmons' podcast, or was David Chang, the chef? No, not Dave Chang. Dave
Are
Cho.
you talking about our guests?
Are you talking about our guests or just podcasts in general? I thought you were talking
just
about
podcasts in general that like
No,
inspired
I
you
knew
or
what
that
she meant. I
really
knew what she meant, but it would be hilarious if Jake was like, well, when we interviewed so and so on our podcast.
the one that sticks out, it's old, but it was like there's Dave Chang and Dave Cho. David Chang is the chef, and he's friends
Mhm.
with David Cho, who's that artist that made like hundreds of millions of dollars because he did all the art in the Facebook studios or Facebook offices before they were a big thing.
uh,
And then Bill Simmons was there, who's a sports writer. It was right after Anthony Bourdain died, and the three of them were friends with him. And that was like
Oh wow.
a long talk, and it was like three people like processing grief, and it was like it was just like it was like most podcasts to me were like just dumb interviews with people, and then you're listening to like three people who all had these different perspectives of this one person that they all loved.
Mm.
And that one just like that was like a rough one, sort of, because I loved Anthony Bourdain. I didn't know him or anything.
yeah.
I just thought he was
Did you?
really cool.
He did an episode about West Virginia that I only watched very recently.
Yeah, I just watched
And
it again, like a couple months ago.
and I was just the way he like talked about it was really kind, and he almost didn't even focus on the food. Like he was just talking about kind of like the tendency to basically just like make fun of and like push aside like Appalachian culture. But yeah, it was, and as I made fun of it, but no, yeah, it was really good. Like he was very kind of like, even though he had very different viewpoints than all the people, I felt like he was super respectful of everybody and like appreciated what he found there, which is kind of how I feel about West Virginia too. Like, there are things you can like joke about, but I do ultimately love it,
Yeah.
What about you, Melissa?
I think I talked about it in one of the
Cutie girl.
podcasts.
Cutie girl spotted.
Here. I definitely talked about it in one of the podcasts before. But that one with Anderson Cooper, All There Is, where same thing, where he was talking about his mom dying and like how his little brother died, or not, it's his younger brother, but he committed suicide and he like jumped out the window of their home, like, and okay, great. Sorry, please stop. But him talking about it and being so vulnerable about it as like someone who is very well known. And you could tell from the very first episode that he didn't really know what he was doing. Like he was kind of like, I'm going to record myself because I don't know what else to do with all of this stuff that I'm going through. And so I think I'm going to record myself and I'm going to try to document it. And obviously, like as a journalist, it probably was something he went to like get through all of it. You know what I mean? But I definitely feel like that was when I started hearing that podcast, I listened to it the whole way through. I think I was driving to mom's maybe, and I listened to like the first 4 episodes, and I felt like it was so good. And him talking, even to him talking to Colbert, like he interviews him about his like the deaths in his family. And I felt like that was like, wow, like if that's making people like be so moved, then it's wow, that's like a great podcast.
Yeah.
Because you're emotionally moved by it immediately, pretty much.
Very powerful stuff.
Yeah.
I remember, did you ever listen to the podcast? I think it was an old Radio Lab on language. And it was basically talking about how
the Juicer Bros one.
I feel like this changed my perspective on the world a little bit because it was talking about basically like we don't really start developing memories until we have language a little bit for the most part, because like if you have a tree, there are a million different shapes and like sizes of trees. So like if you don't know what to categorize something as, it's hard to make a memory of it because there are so many details. So now, like when you describe something, you're like, we went down this road and there were a bunch of trees, but you're not thinking of every little branch and every little like. But at the same time, when you start categorizing everything, you stop really seeing things, So it's just like that's a tree, and you stop like observing, like especially like the natural world. You stop really looking at it closely. So like you have a baby and they like pick up something and they're like, oh, and it's like, well, that kind of before you've categorized it and set it aside, it almost like is more significant too in some ways. But it's just it's a super interesting podcast just about how like language plays into like the way our memory works, because our memory kind of has to like categorize everything and set it aside. But I don't remember the title. I should have looked it up. But okay.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
That sounds very interesting.
It's really old. I can't remember the name of it, but it's probably if you like Googled Radio Lab and language, it would come up, or
We'll have to link it.
We'll link it in the deets. Chelsea will. No, maybe Jake will. There's been a shift in roles. Okay, so if your house was burning, what would you take out of it? Like what things have value to you and you do not include photos, pets, or your mate?
I don't include those things.
No. That's kind of a given, I feel like.
Okay, I probably would very quickly go to the areas of our house where I know that I have like really old, weird, sentimental things. So I have that old hot box. I have the old hat box. I have a hot box,
Ye old hot box.
the old hot box filled with farts. I have an old hat box.
For special occasions for Dare Bear.
Chelsea, edit that out. No, just kidding. So I have that old hat box. You know it. It's that purple Victorian one. And every like 3 years, I look through it and I love it. And I've not gotten rid of anything in it for 20 years. Literally, it's 20 years now officially. And I am so freaking proud of that dumb thing. Like I realized the other day that I brought that to my first apartment when I got married. And I'm like, it's been almost 20 years that I've had that hat box. And I'm like, if anybody touches that hat box, I'm gonna slit their throat.
Is it the purple? Is it purple?
Yeah, it's purple.
Oh yeah.
So that and then anything art-wise, like old stupid books, magazines that I've had for years, I would bring. Everything else, I don't care that much about. Maybe that new little match holder I bought. I love that thing. Yeah. And maybe that little thing Julie made me, the little floral arrangement in the window. It gives me so much peace every day when I look at it when I'm washing the dishes. Jake, go.
4 minutes, Jake, go.
Not Chelsea, not photos,
Right, not allowed.
just something like things.
They're making it out. She grabbed the photo. She's already out. She's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
she's already in the lawn with
got
her
the photos.
hands like this.
Oh,
just like,
staring at you. Jakey, are you coming? Jakey.
No, I don't think I'm very sentimental. Maybe I have a box around here somewhere that I made when I was in high school.
Like
Just trying to
wooden?
think of like
or-
a wooden box that I made from high school, and I forget what's all in it. But I made it when I was like in 10th grade, and somehow it's just kind of traveled with us everywhere we've gone.
oh, there it goes.
Oh, see,
Hat
this
box
is
coming.
why.
And I
This
made
is why
it
she makes
This
it
is
all.
That's the-
Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang Clan logo when I was in 10th grade. So I go back deep.
Wow.
But I've always
What do you
liked,
got in there, Jake?
oh, Beastie Boys. Tickets
Ah.
to the Beastie
Oh.
Boys.
What's the date on that?
See, this is exactly
It's,
what.
September 19th, 2004.
Good year.
Oh,
Good.
here's the first time I saw Rancid, 1998
Oh.
with Blink 182.
No, look at that ticket. Oh my God,
Oh,
that's
wow.
so awesome.
Um,
It's so used up.
Warp Tour 2001. It's most.
Oh, man.
But wait, there's a good one in here.
Oh my God. You
Me and
Darren-
Chelsea's first date. The day we started
Oh.
dating. June 23rd, 2003.
McDonald's receipt.
Finding Nemo at Bella
Stop.
Bottega in Redmond.
Finding Nemo? Is that old?
No.
June 23rd, 2003.
Are
Wow.
you
Well, you definitely didn't bring her to anything to arouse the passion, so that was commendable of you.
That's apropos as
Keeping
you
it
knew
clean.
One day she would be your editor. One day she would
You
be
want-
your boss on the pod. You knew better. You knew better.
Yeah, it's just random stuff.
That is so weird that you have that because Darren has a box he made that's wooden in woodworking class. And he gave it to me when we were dating. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. You made a wooden box, but here you are. Like, I made one too. No big deal. And in my head, Wu-Tang Clan on it.
That. Oh, one other thing. When we were dating, I took a hanger and I shaped it into "I love you," and it's gone with
That
us.
story could have went another way quickly, and I got very worried.
And we've put it in every house that we've had. So I made that
Aw,
for Chelsea when
Stop.
we were dating, and it's
No, you
actually
did-
great.
so I would grab this.
That's very.
I'd grab this, and I'd grab my Wu-Tang.
Okay,
And
this
everything
is
else-
a
The two
everything else
great
can
sides
burn.
of Jake.
Everything
Yeah.
else can burn.
Yeah, Jake wins. Jake wins that.
Listen, you both win. The fact that you even kept any one single object that long without it getting lost in a black hole, Melissa, is a miracle as
know.
well. So you both
Because
really win.
I truly treasure my own items from when I was a teenager, but no one else's. So I'm lucky.
You're My
I'm
Little
lucky.
Pony, trash.
You know what? I have 5 Paris Perfection.
No. Magazines?
We've got 2 minutes. Jake, I've got it right here. Please hold.
Okay.
Melissa and I used to do a fashion line that we designed and drew called Paris Perfection.
Paris
And we were
Perfection.
way ahead of the curve because we catered to all shapes and sizes. Pretty plus, as we called it. Super skinny, whatever you were. Paris Perfection had something for you. A
Got
lot
it.
of bows involved.
It's I brought it upstairs and put it back in the box. I'm gonna go get it.
Okay.
Don't know where she went the first time. That was actually just a bathroom break. I'm just gonna go get that. Okay, I'm just gonna go get that now.
Oh, what's your songs
yeah,
right now while she's doing it?
Okay. Mine would be, what is it? I hope I haven't used this before. Yamasuki.
Yummy.
It was a 70s dance craze, and it is a song that I would love to put to a snowboarding video at some point.
Oh,
Okay,
nice. That's fun.
we're back, and I know that we're gonna wrap it up. It says Paris Perfection by Jenna Layton, issue number 5, year 1922. That was a
My
lie.
best issue.
Oh man. Take some pictures and we'll post it on the Instagram.
Okay. Yeah, let's not give it away for free. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Yeah. Mine
You can still order.
Okay, song, go.
2 songs. One, Bonzo Goes to Bitburg by the Ramones. I love that song. And also Seasons by Future Islands. I really like that song.
Oh, classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't quite ready for this part tonight. I'm gonna have to, I don't think I've done a Julia Jacqueline before, but let's do Pool Party.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Jenna knows.
She's good. Yeah. I love some Julia Jacqueline.
Well, we got to wrap this up. We got to get out
Okay,
of
well, I'm glad that you guys took over the podcast and made me feel like garbage.
Oh, yeah.